Are you listening?
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Running Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Bigmike, and no, don't adjust your screen. I am flying solo tonight. Sped is still part of the run-in. He hasn't, smartened up and found a new co-host. He is actually, oddly enough, doing the Lord's work. Literally, he's officiating a wedding. They've got their rehearsal dinner tonight, so he couldn't be part of the show. He is in the comments. I see him just pulling up. What's good, Sped? Love you, brother. Hope everything's going well at your rehearsal dinner, and everything goes well for your officiating tomorrow night. Like I said, he is officiating a wedding. Just think about that. If you guys have watched the show before, Sped is ordained and can perform your wedding. So anybody out there wants to get married, and wants the run-in to do it, Sped can come perform the wedding. He's also a cook. We could probably cater it. I could be your sit-in, ring bearer, flower girl, whatever you want to do. I can serve at your at your reception, whatever you want to do. Just let me know, so we can have not only run-in wrestling but run-in weddings. So that's could be a thing. So just let us know. Hit me up at _BigMike27 at SP3DROCK over on Twitter. And maybe you can have the run-in perform your wedding. So thank you to everybody jumping in the comments very early. We will say hello to everyone before we get to the main event, which is what you're all here for, the week in wrestling. Herb and Raj always supporting me, man. I love you, Herb. My best friend in the world. Always giving me hype messages. He texted me a few minutes before this because he knows how nervous I am being on here by myself. So thank you, man. I love you. Appreciate you jumping in. Lady Alpha as well. Day one supporter, long time friend, way before there was ever a podcast or anything like that. So thank you for always hyping me up. Michael from King Hat 2, Jelly Roll's future favorite podcast. I hope so. I did send out a message to Jelly Roll if he wants to tune in. Jelly, if you're in there, let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoy the podcast. He was on Chris Van Vliet talking about his wrestling journey, his weight loss journey, and pretty much just his life journey in general. It's pretty cool. If you're a fan of his, go check it out on Chris Van Vliet's YouTube. Also check out Kicking At It 2's YouTube, and everybody else I just mentioned, Lady Alpha at the Wrestling Divas, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. They've got a Halloween episode coming up. Herb and Raj podcast, pretty much videos every day now. They're putting out stuff all the time. Their main show is on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. They have the Saturday show, Unhinged, After Dark, or a watch party, depending on what's going on. So check them out as well. And then there's Sped again. I love you too, brother. Hope everything's going well. And yes, Sped is revolutionary. He does a little bit of everything. He will have his fingerprints all over this show. Even though he's not here, you'll see throughout the slides. We are still doing predictions. Even though he's not here, Halloween Havoc's coming up. The show never stops in wrestling, so still have business to take care of from the run-in standpoint. I'm still putting my NXT championship on the line. Even though he can't be here to give them in person, he will let us know through there who he picks to win. Doesn't really matter. I'm still going to bring home the championship. Kind of what I do. I'm the NXT king, NXT champion. So anything else? So yeah, Sped's not here, and Lady Alpha said it. No, I don't eat either. I'm a no eat guy myself, which we will get to here in a little bit. Yes, and everybody's flooding in with comments. Thank you guys so much. Herb, I saw your question. I will post it here in just a second. When we get into some of the other stuff that we're going to get into, I did start. We will go back to that. So thank you for your question. So help us get through some of that. But no, again, let's get to the point why you're here. Let's end your wrestling week the right way and get in with the slideshow, the run-in wrestling. It was a good week. Had a great pay-per-view. Had a bunch of good weekly shows. We've got another good show coming up this weekend at Halloween Havoc, like I mentioned. A lot to get to, a lot to talk about. So let's make sure we get into it. And you guys let me know in the comments as we go. Obviously, I'm just going to give my opinions because Sped is not here to bounce off of. So anything you guys say in the comments, we will talk about. I'll put up on the screen as we always do every single week. We'll start back with SmackDown, all the way back there. And Zaruka challenged for the tag team championships, went up against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Took the loss as probably many expected. They weren't really their time to win it. The big news coming out of this was Sol Ruka getting injured. I've heard some people say it's a work. Obviously, with any injury in WWE, that's always going to be the thing now. And really any injury in wrestling, period. Who knows if it's real or fake? It seems real. More to come on that when we get to the NXT slides and get to Halloween Havoc. But she suffered an apparent knee injury, and I enjoyed the hell out of this match. All four of these women are incredible. Obviously, you have Charlotte and Alexa, who have been there forever. When I say that, like it's a bad thing, have just been around. You've got Sol and Zarya, who are up and coming, the next big stars that are coming up from NXT, and just put on a great match. You had Blake Monroe out in the crowd, another kind of nod to NXT and Halloween Havoc coming up. And I 100% love the team dynamics from both of them. Zaruka, we've talked about probably breaking up for a while. Again, we'll get into that here in a little bit with some of the stuff that happens after. I'd like to see them stay together, to be honest. I think they would be a really great tag team to build this division around in the future. Not that I don't think either one of them could be incredible single stars. But I think that they would be a great tag team to keep together. And Autumn coming in, the other half of the Wrestling Divas podcast. Welcome in, Autumn. Look, you're not late. The party doesn't start till you get here as well. We're a family. We all ride together, so nobody's late. We all just leave when we get together. But yeah, and the question is what other teams? And let me know in the comments, what other teams are there really? You've got Zaruka, you've got obviously Charlotte and Alexa. You really don't have a whole lot of other teams that are out there for the title right now. You had the Secret Harvest for a minute. You had a couple other tag teams here and there. Now it just doesn't seem like there's anybody. Even in NXT, you don't see a whole lot of tag teams being built or being showcased enough. You've got Tatum, or you've got the culling with Tatum and Izzy, but you've kind of been a tag team here and there. So that's one of the things WWE really needs to think about rebuilding and getting better at it, is making more women's tag teams. If they're going to keep these belts prominent and going, that's one of the things that they really need to look at, just to make sure. Sorry about that. Got to do something there. Just to think about going in the future, because obviously having a 2-team party for the women's tag team titles just isn't going to cut it going forward. Zach jumping in, National Boston Cream Pie Day. Oh, I love me a good Boston cream pie. That's pretty damn good. Appreciate you coming in. Herb, you got it. You can sit right next to me the whole time and keep me company, keep me up, keep me awake as I'm driving. What's up, Isaiah, jumping in as well. Appreciate you coming in, brother. Next up, you've got the U.S. Championship Open Challenge from Sami Zayn. And look, before this, you guys know it, that you guys have watched. I've been pretty down on Sami Zayn for a long time. I do love the fact that he brought back John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. I think it's given this belt a lot of life. It's given it a lot more prestige than it has had. I loved it every single time that he's done it. The past couple weeks, as you see up there on the top left as I'm looking at it, The Miz actually answered the Open Challenge, but then got taken out by Carmelo Hayes, kind of a callback to last week, where The Miz took out Carmelo Hayes and got answered by somebody else. And the same thing happened here, but holy crap, it's answered by none other than the returning Ilya Dragunov. And holy crap, what a match. I found myself excited for this match a lot more than I have any other Sammy match. And Dragunov's okay. I mean, he's never been one of my favorites, but he's always very exciting in the ring. He's always one of those that's very intense, very just kind of in your face, just really good in the ring, really good performer. And wouldn't you know it, on his first night back after being gone for over a year, wins the U.S. Championship, beating Sami Zayn in a hell of a match. Um, but yeah, just a complete banger. And now you got to think about who's next. Does he give Sammy a rematch maybe next week? Does somebody else try to step up? What happens with the Miz and Carmelo? I agree. I've never been a huge Ilya fan. I know Sped likes Ilya a lot more than I do. I don't know that he's a huge fan of him. But yeah, that pop when he came out, and we've been looking for it for a while. It's been rumored he's been backstage a few weeks now, and he's never really come out. So it was really good to see him come out. Lady Alpha was the first time to see him wrestle. So first time seeing him, what was your first impression of him? Let me know. Michael also talking about some other tag teams a little bit. Fallon and Laney, yeah, they just kind of got put together in NXT. Raquel and Roxanne, yes, they can see. I can see that being the Judgment Day, but they seem to be focusing more on singles titles with her going after Stephanie. BFAB and Meechin kind of on and off again. Every now and then they'll tie together, but then they go off and do their other things. You got the Street Profits of it, so that's one of the things that I was talking about. You're just not having a complete tag team division there. Yes, the beautiful bastard. There we go. He's good. I need to get to know the character a little bit more before I can draw it. And the easiest way I can describe his character is he enjoys pain. They mentioned a few times on the broadcast that he's one of those people. It's kind of like the sadistic vibe, I guess, where he loves when you hit him, kind of like Gunther on steroids, as far as character wise, to where he embraces the pain. He loves it. Every time you hit him, he wants you to hit him harder. Just very intense, very, very driven, and very just hit me again, please. I love it. That's kind of it. That's kind of his thing. I hope so. I didn't see that promo. I guess it's probably one of the behind, like you said, behind the scenes, but during commercial break kind of things that they're doing with the Netflix era. I know it's on still on TV here in the U.S., but it's in Netflix over there, so I'm sure they're still doing interviews during our commercials in the U.S. So yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's one of the things that he needed to work on to be able to give a more complete promo. He's very good in short bursts, much like his matches, where he can give a really quick, 2-line, 3-line short promo, but a lot more longer promo where he's trying to build a story. He kind of had a little bit of trouble with, in my opinion. But again, the future's bright. Brand new champion. A lot of ways they can go with it. A lot of guys in that mid card there on SmackDown that they can really, really shine. With everything with the MFTs, Solo kind of coming out and distracting Sammy. There's a story there after War Games. So there's a lot of ways they can go with Ilya in that new U.S. title championship reign. Then kind of your main event was really the only other thing that we saw. Shout out Jacob Fatu, who it was rumored before the show that he had gotten injured, and then they announced this, so we all kind of got our hopes up that he was going to be in a number one contenders match, and then they had the write-off. Backstage, beat up, down, his teeth were laying on the ground. I'm not sure they had to go that far with it, but I guess it gives it a little bit blood and teeth and everything, gives it a little bit more edge to it. I am wearing my Yaramin t-shirt in honor of Jacob Fatu, which was given to me by Herb that I mentioned earlier. So thank you, sir, for that. I love it. And which is also another big blow. That's one of the big talking points that we've had over the past week or so on the internet is the amount of injuries that WWE has sustained over the past month or two, to where they were actually starting to talk about bringing call-ups up early from NXT to try to fill up the roster until people start coming back. And now with Sol Ruka, you've got people in NXT getting hurt. So it's a really, really bad time to be a WWE wrestler if you're trying not to get hurt. As soon as you start coming back and being prominent, it seems like the bug hits you. And they go through phases like this, right? It's weird. It happens in every sport where it seems like it's just one after another, after another, after another, where your top stars are getting hurt and being out, and then you have to pivot, which is one of the great things about the Performance Center, about NXT, is you have a crop of young, up and coming stars that you're making down there that you can call somebody up in your time of need, and then boom, all of a sudden you get your next big star, hopefully. So at least they've got the plan there. We hope to see some call ups from NXT. I'm looking at you, Obafemi, Roll Tide, built by Bama. Obviously, one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT. So hopefully he gets the call up. Sad news are exactly. I mean, it seems like every week there's at least one or two more. So that's really what we want to shoot for now, is to go a week or two without an injury, just to kind of to stem the tide a little bit and bring it back in. Hopefully, some people coming back soon, everything like that. I know Liv Morgan should be around the next month or so when she's coming back. A couple other people that have been hurt. We just had the return of Tama Tonga, luckily, from his injury. He's been gone for a little while. So we do have, it is a little bit of influx back and forth. But the main event happened. So Drew McIntyre comes out and he's all happy, giddy. Still claims he had nothing to do with it when he's confronted by Nick Aldis, who comes out. And then, yes, definitely. They'd have to recycle a lot if they had the day since injury counter. They probably wouldn't have it in catering. I'd probably put it in Gorilla, so everybody that walks out can be like, all right, don't be that next guy. Don't be the one who changes that number back to 0 every time you go through the curtain. Let's go out there and be safe. Maybe we start wrestling when bubble wrap instead of knee pads, stuff like that. And maybe it'll be better. But Nick Aldis comes out and says, "Hey, I know what you did. I'm furious. I can't stand you're not getting rewarded for taking out Jacob." While Drew is adamant that he had nothing to do with it. Out comes Cody Rhodes, very, 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 very fiery, very animated. Kind of a different side of Cody that we don't see a lot of every now and then. And basically, when he gets one of his friends injured or hurt, I'm not sure why we would call Jacob Fatu his friend, but hey, that's what they're trying to build. We'll throw that one in there. They've been in the ring a couple of times. They've teamed, so we'll suspend our belief a little bit and say they're friends now. But do you see that fiery part of Cody that separates him from a lot of other traditional baby faces in the ring, which I like. It's not the normal, well, I'm going to do this for my friend who you hurt. It's no, I'm going to kick your ass now because I don't like what you did. And I think you need to pay. So they come out, they wrestle. And obviously this is going to, I think pretty sure it leads to Saturday Night Main Event, them going for the title, which is something that we've wanted to see a lot of. So I'm excited to see that. I hate that for Jacob Fatu again getting hurt, but anytime you can see Drew and Cody go at it again, because they've had some really good matches in the past, it's gonna be a banger. So Saturday Night Main Event building up to be a good show. I know that's kind of been an up and down show for every time they do it. Obviously it's a network show, so it's been a glorified house show. And I don't expect this to be a whole lot different, but hopefully some of the matches that they're putting on, that they're announcing, will turn it to where at least it's a really good show. As long as we don't get Brock Lesnar again, all I care about. Or Goldberg. Lesnar or Goldberg, as long as those two don't show up, I'll be okay. It'll be the best Saturday Night Main Event we've had in a while. And yes, Lady Alpha, we need to have some kind of incentive for staying healthy. Like they do that at my job. Like when you do health insurance, you get like money off of your health insurance when you do your doctor's appointments, when you do all the things you're supposed to do. So maybe they do that. If you go 365 days without getting hurt, maybe you get an injury free bonus or something like that. Hopefully will be the thing to do. But that is all from Friday Night SmackDown. It's still a decent show, still, a good bit going on. If I've missed something that you guys want to talk about as we go through, we are about to hit AEW Wrestledream, which was on Saturday. So if I've missed something that you guys still want to talk about, please let me know in the comments. I will backtrack, kind of as you saw me do with Michael's comment earlier. and we'll talk about that as well, because obviously, just because I didn't see it doesn't mean you guys didn't. So let me know what you thought. Cody will touch up that label. I mean, exactly. Neck tattoos for everybody. Maybe that's what Dom got his for, because he's been healthy for so long. uh, Moving on to Saturday night, the AEW crown was on the line. The Ultimate One from Chokeslam Wrestling Report, who is currently our AEW crown, or was currently our AEW crown champion, going into Wrestledream, put his crown on the line as Sped and I made our picks. So all you have to do is not get hurt. There you go. Let's see. Y'all have to be able to pick up the slack here, and that's okay. No problem. We've got, Michael picking that too, and Tori. Mike and Tori were in the building for Wrestledream. I watched their show on Tuesday. Who gave their review of it? They enjoyed it. What's up, Vinny from the Studs and Squared Circle Media, part of Gimmick Table Media. Appreciate you coming in. Love you, brother. Michael kicking at you and shouting him out as well. But yeah, just overall, man, Wrestledream was amazing. AEW pay-per-views normally are, though. There's very few times that an AEW pay-per-view doesn't deliver. And it's one of those things where it's kind of, you get what you pay for. You pay $60, $70 to get a pay-per-view. They're going to give you $60 or $70 or more worth of wrestling. You're not going to feel like you've been cheated going into a pay-per-view. Yeah, we'll get to that. So, kicking off with kind of what happened in the middle of the show, Mercedes Moné actually puts her title on the line against any champion that wants to come out and challenge her. Out walks Mina Shirakawa, who puts up her Ring of Honor interim championship on the line and ends up losing to Mercedes Moné. And at this point on Saturday night, it made Mercedes Moné a record-breaking 11 belt champion. I'll repeat that for all those people who don't understand what that means. She is currently holding, at this time, 11 championship belts from different promotions. Now, the next night, she will actually go out and win a 12th belt. So she is now, as of time of recording on Thursday, October 23rd, she now holds 12 championships, which is, again, breaking a record. No one's ever held this many championships at one time. She is also the longest reigning TBS champion on AEW, for those of you who are not familiar with AEW championships. Ultimo Moné, which is what she is coining herself after winning those. Just again trying to show that she is one of the best wrestlers, if not the best, not only women's wrestlers, but wrestlers on the planet. Definitely one of the best in ring. She's got a great promo. So the fact that she has 12 championship belts to, I would say carry around, but now she has models to carry them around for, as she had on Wednesday. So, but again, a great match for her and Mina Shirakawa. Mina's always really great. And it's going to be an interesting story. She was actually confronted by AEW Women's Champion Chris Statlander after this, and on Wednesday night as well, which we'll talk a little bit about when we get into AEW on Dynamite. So that looks like it's going to be a program where she's probably going to try for her 13th or 14th, that we'll get to here a little later, belt here in the future. Vinny, I'm too big of an ego. I can't stand her there. Look, and that's part of it, and that's the whole CEO gimmick. You're not supposed to be able to stand her. That means she's done her job. Good job, Mercedes Moné. She has pissed off one person, as she's pissed off many. So 100% what she wants to do. And it's hard to argue. She's definitely polarizing. She will definitely come out, give great matches and everything like that. It should be Ulta Moné. Yeah. I'm just going to leave that one there. I will let you look that one up on your own. Good luck with Google on that. Make sure you've got incognito mode just in case. We will jump back to the beginning of the match, to the beginning of the pay-per-view, which shows another women's match. Again, man, and I've heard a lot of people, other people say it. They said it on Tuesday night on the Kicking At It too. It is an incredible time to be a women's wrestling fan. I just talked about, the women's tag team match that they had over on SmackDown, the match with Mercedes and Mina just a minute ago. This one with Jamie Hayter and Tekla. Again, another amazing match. Two hard hitting women. If you are used to the WWE style of women's wrestling that may not be quite as hard hitting, this will be an eye opener for you. So if you're looking to get into it and you like a little bit more violence and a little bit more into it, like they don't bleed a whole lot either every now and then, but it's a lot more hard hitting, especially with Tekla, who is out there, one of the hardest hitting women on the planet. So Jamie Hayter does get the win, and they will continue their feud a little bit later on Wednesday, which we will get to when we talk about Dynamite. But again, another great match. Oh, what's up? Tori from the Kicking Out at 2 podcast, the talent of the Kicking Out at 2 podcast, has made her way into the chat. What's going on, Tori? Appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. Next up was a trios match between the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand. I'm not a huge fan of Ricochet. I haven't been for a while, but I'm really digging the Demand. I like GOA. Again, I like the little hand gesture for whatever reason. I don't know why that pops me every time, but I like it. Again, just a really good match. Hurt Syndicate wins. They hurt people, which leads to a number one contenders shot for the Trios Championship, which they actually go against the Ops on Wednesday night here in Dynamite, which we'll get to then. But again, just a great match between two up and coming, or really one up and coming team, and the Syndicate there. The Demand is the worst name. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what else would you call them? I guess it's. I'm not here for it. Like I said, I like the gesture. I like how they're coming together as a team. But yeah, and Michael demands that they get a new name. That's pretty good. That's some Herb and Rod humor right there. If Herb and Roger in the comments still, they'll appreciate the humor there. How you're turning into that. That's definitely a trick from them. The reason people turn into Kicking That too, Tori. So I'll push back on that one. While Tori is the talent, we come to see both of you because we love both of you guys. You're both awesome. Next up, we have the AEW Tag Team Champions, Brodito, against two of the best all time, Okada and Takeshita. Brodito retains. I mean, it was pretty obvious to me. You guys let me know in your in the comments what your thoughts. I don't know that a lot of people thought Okada and Takeshita were going to win just because they don't like each other. It's the age-old story of will they coexist or won't they? Because these two have been going back and forth at each other. Obviously, both members of the Don Callis family. Yeah, I agree, Tori. I feel like it was a given that they would retain just because I thought there would be more of, Okada turning on Takeshita or vice versa or something like that. So I don't remember seeing as much of that in there. I'm sure there's obviously a little dissension, but not as much as I was expecting going into the match. Unless there was something I missed. I was kind of going back and forth at this point of the game, this point of the show, because the Alabama game was on too. So I was kind of watching two focuses there. But I agree. What I saw was a good match there. And going back, you can just call them Agony because there are two gates. They're the gate. The other two are the gates of Agony. You got to work Ricochet in there somewhere, I guess. If you're gonna use the name of 2/3 of the group, you got to work Ricochet in there. I don't know. We'll workshop it. We'll come up with names and maybe put out a video of other names that they could call the Demand. I've been looking for other video ideas anyway, just to kind of get some more traffic on the channel. Maybe we'll do that. But again, I mean, you'll see some of these matches a little bit later too. A few of the matches we've talked about may or may not end up on Stampede's World of Wrestling segment that we'll get to here in a little bit. But just incredible matches. And Brodito retains. Next up, another tag team match. This one not for any titles, but it is for $500,000 for some reason. Again, watching a podcast, I've heard people talk about they're tired of these money matches. I agree and not. I agree that I don't want to see them against random teams. Like I know on Dynamite they talked about they're going to have an 8-man tag for 500,000 now between Jurassic Express, Jet Speed, the Young Bucks, and FTR. So I don't know that I like throwing everybody in there. I think these should specifically be for the Young Bucks and only the Young Bucks, not the 8-mans. Not now. If this was a 4-way with the Young Bucks in it and they're trying to beat all 3 other teams, I'm okay with that because it kind of fits their gimmick. They could have done something like this when they had, like in WWE when you had Broke-Ass Corbin. This would have been great for him to just go out there and just have prize fights. And it's something like that. So I think that's kind of cool with them, but they tend to just spread them around to everybody, which is kind of weird. So, but the Young Bucks have grown on me. I've never really been a Young Bucks fan. But them over the past few months going through the broke times and losing their title and all that and just seeing how funny they've been with all this has really gotten me growing into a fan of the Young Bucks more and more, and I don't really like it. So maybe we'll have to start a support group for all of us that are starting to like the Young Bucks more than we ever really thought we would. So, and then obviously Jurassic Express returning together and putting on a great show. I know I watched that Tori was very excited that she got to do the entrance with Jurassic Express coming out, waving her arms and do all that, and that's pretty cool that she got to do that. And there's millions of people around that are doing the same thing, so that is really cool to see them come back together. And then to me, what would be my match of the this one's my match of the night. I'll just go ahead and say it. Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe for the TNT title. I don't know. I talk about all the time, and Sped does too, that we think Takeshita is the best wrestler in the world. Stampede agrees. He's got him as number 1 on his rankings. That's pretty widely thought of. Yes, I'm sorry. My bad. You even told me it is the Protostar Kyle Fletcher. I forgot to say his whole name. My fault. You even reminded me the other day, and in my nerves, I forgot to say it. So thank you. I appreciate it, Michael. The Protostar Kyle Fletcher defeating Mark Briscoe for the TNT title. And again, I'm hard pressed to find anybody better than the Protostar Kyle Fletcher in a wrestling ring right now. And I agree with what I've heard a few people say. These two are what we normally call wrestling soulmates. They bring something out of each other. I thought a very good comparison was what Michael put out on Tuesday of Mick Foley and was it? I say I would loved it. Now I can't remember the names because my mind just went blank. It was either The Rock or Shawn Michaels with Mankind. Just very two different styles, which The Rock and Shawn Michaels can be very similar styles, which is why my brain. Okay, it was Shawn Michaels. I knew it was one of the two. I don't know why The Rock kind of creeped in there. I think you could probably substitute The Rock for that because I think they also brought each other something similar. But that comparison is amazing because they kick it into in a completely different gear when they face each other. And we talk about Fletcher and Ospreay because obviously they're friends and they've known each other forever and they kind of train together, stuff like that. But when him and Briscoe are in there, it's something completely different. But I'll be honest, he's going to be a world. I completely agree. If Kyle Fletcher, if the Protostar Kyle Fletcher does not become the superstar Kyle Fletcher and become a world champion in the next year, I'm not going to go so far as say it's a fumble, but it's definitely a misstep for Tony. He needs to be in the main event scene and going up. I mean, him and Hangman a couple weeks ago was a great match. He doesn't put on bad matches. So anytime he's on there is amazing. And yeah, Mick Foley was just one of those wrestlers. I mean, that's why he's one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. Not only the fact because he's a bigger guy, and as a bigger guy, he represents me, but also just the amount of work he put in and the amount of the caliber of matches that he had with just about anybody that he went in the ring with. And Kyle Fletcher is on those same levels of him, HBK, Bret Hart. I mean, you think of some of the other people that, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins right now, Will Ospreay, who just can go in there and have an incredible match with anybody. Like, I feel confident if I stepped in a ring with Kyle Fletcher, I might not do anything, but he's going to find a way to make that an incredible match against, the proto star Kyle Fletcher versus Big Mike. We're going to have at least a 4-star match, and it's going to be all Kyle Fletcher, and I'm just going to kind of move around and do whatever he tells me to. So that just kind of seems like that's the kind of performer he is. 100% he should be. And I almost think he shouldn't lose. Like, this should be one of those instances that doesn't happen very often, where he should hand off the TNT title and say, here, I'm going to give you this because I want a shot at the world title. Let somebody else have that now, because nobody's ever going to beat me for it. This is my bargaining chip to get another shot at Hangman for that world title, if this is what I have to do. And then they can write him off with, giving that title up instead of losing it. I think that would be a great way to do it. And then he could say, look, well, I never lost it, if he ever wanted to go back. Yes. Something like that. And I want to say they used to do it. Didn't they used to do it? Not necessarily a handoff, but like whoever the Intercontinental Champion was a long time ago, back in the 80s, could ask for a world title shot because they were kind of the number 2. Something similar to that. But just some way where he can give off that TNT title and not have to lose it would be great, because I don't want to see him take a loss, because I don't think he deserves one. Next up, you've got the match I mentioned earlier, Toni Storm and Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm trying to regain that title that Chris Statlander won a couple weeks ago. And I know I sound like I'm a broken record here, but it was just another great match. I am so impressed with how much Chris Statlander has really come out, for lack of a better term, especially with this feud with Tori. I guess that, or with Tony. I guess that's a very appropriate term. But just how much more prominent she's getting with her personality, with her promos, everything she's doing in the ring. She definitely feels like a world champion, where she may not have 6 months ago. When it was her and Willow going back and forth and having a bunch of series of matches together, good matches, but you didn't really see Statlander at that time as a world champion. Now, the way she's presenting herself, the way she's kind of letting loose a little bit more, and Toni Storm seems to bring that out of people, which is one of the best things about Toni Storm, is not necessarily how great she is in the ring, because she is, but it's what she tends to bring out of her opponents, which is a very unsung skill in wrestling from a fan standpoint. The people in the back, the people backstage, the people in the company see that kind of stuff, but a lot of times when we're watching it on TV, we don't normally look at, man, that guy or that girl is really making her opponent look amazing. That, I think, is probably one of the best attributes of Toni Storm that nobody talks about. As amazing as she is on the mic, as amazing as she is in the ring when she's winning and when she's on top and when she's the champion, the ability of Toni Storm to make everyone around her look good is probably the best thing about it. And that's, to me, what makes her one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now. We talked about Mercedes earlier. She's very good from being on top. And yes, she can make somebody look good, but I don't think she comes anywhere near Toni's ability to make the other person in the ring look like a champion or look like $1 million. So thank you, Herb. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's all. We'll go there. Yes, and only 3 apples high. Next up, you had the AEW World Championship match between Adam Hangman Page and Samoa Joe. And as great as this match was, I'm going to go straight to the end because it finally gives me what I want to see, and that's heel Samoa Joe. You can talk about all day how great the both of them are in the ring. I've talked about that on every single one of these other matches. That goes tenfold for these two, for Hangman and for Samoa Joe. But when Samoa Joe hits Adam Hangman Page, my heart grew a little bit. I love heel Samoa Joe. That sadistic look he gets, in that kind of like off kilter, crazy look he gets in his eye there at the end. It just does something, man. That kicks Joe into another realm. He's very much like a Kevin Owens in that respect, or I'd say probably Kevin Owens is kind of like him because Samoa Joe's probably doing it before him. That's probably where Kevin Owens learned a lot of it, because I know they were in Ring of Honor and all that kind of stuff together. Just there's something different about heel Samoa Joe and bringing on the ops with him. I think this is going to do something for Hobbs that I don't know that anybody else has done. He's going to learn how to be one of the best heels in the business, Hobbs, that is, from Samoa Joe. And this could take Hobbs to the next level in the next year or two. Learning this part of that business is going to change something in Hobbs. Watch. You mark this show, October 23rd, 6:41 p.m. Central Time, when Hobbs is a world champion in a couple of years. And this is the point where him and heel sadistic Samoa Joe, yeah, it's going to change some things. Yeah. And that, yep, I appreciate that. Thank you, Herb. Herb is one of the most supportive people you ever meet. I've talked about, how great Tony Storm is in the ring, helping other people. That's Herb in real life. So thank you, Herb. I appreciate it. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I'll start losing my words and we'll be here forever. Next up, the main event, the I Quit match between Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. One of the matches I was the most excited for on this card. And I got to be honest, it just didn't deliver for me. I've seen a lot of discourse online about how violent it was, about how you're the fish tank spot. I've seen all that, and I'm going to go the other way. I actually expected there to be more violence. I said before this match and on our show last week, you may have to kill one of these guys to get them to say I quit, because these are two that would never do it. And I get it. You got the skewer in the finger, which made me cringe. That one was good. I liked that. Yes. Think of the children. I loved your comment, Tori, and I saw it again on TikTok before we came on. So I'm glad that it brought it back to my mind. This is a pay-per-view. You paid to see this. It's AEW. You should know what you're getting. Calm down. Is that a fact? Missouri has a limit on bleeding? Okay. Well, then I will take back a little bit what I said. I still expected more, but I get that. If you're hampered by rules and regulations of where you're at, then 100%, I could see why you didn't do it. So you always have to have rules. And yes, I agree. Herb is awesome. Yeah, I mean, that is what it is. But obviously with Sting coming back, that gave a little bit of excitement to it. But even the finish of the match, I was talking to somebody about it. To me, the finish of the match still should have been more than Scorpion Death Drop, Scorpion Deathlock. I know he hit him with the bat a few times, but there should have been, I was expecting more from the finish, especially. Like even if you're going to do it with the Scorpion Deathlock, use the bat somehow and use that in his legs or something. Make it look like it's worse than a normal Scorpion Deathlock, because it just kind of ended. You know what I'm saying? I was building up. I was hyping. Darby was making his comeback. Sting comes out and help him. Shout out Granddad Sting with all the gray hair. I think I saw somebody say Dumbledore Sting, which is pretty funny. I just expected more than what I got at the end. It's still a great match. Still a lot of cool spots. but just to me, the finish could have been more. We'll catch up on a couple of comments. Pretty much just everybody talking about how awesome Herb is, which I 100%. They need Mox to explain why he tapped so fast. He had no backup at that point, which shows he can't just. Yeah, and if they turn it into a story, shout out to that. So kind of like the Gunther thing when, because I said the same thing then when Gunther tapped as soon as he got put in the chokehold, it kind of felt the same way. Now this match leading up to that was a lot better than Uso and Gunther, so I'll give them that. But just the finish, the way it happened, just seemed like it was too quick, not enough. I mean, anything you want to put in there as far as adjectives of it, just I wanted more. That's really the worst thing I could say about it. But again, a complete pay-per-view. I wasn't disappointed in the show at all, even though there were some down spots. Oh crap! I am way behind on comments. I am sorry. Let's see. Commentary kind of alluded to him giving up being smart. Yeah, but I could see it being smart if there was something else. Like if this was a number one contenders match or something like that, and you didn't want to get hurt down the road or something, maybe. Or if it was like a tournament like the G1 or like the Owen Hart Cup or something like that, where you're trying to save yourself for another match down the line. This was supposed to be the big blow off. Obviously, they're going to have more based on what happened Wednesday. I don't know. I don't buy that from commentary. So Sting showing up was my pop of the night. Haven't seen him live since night. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you got to see him. That's awesome. What they did on Wednesday, I think it will become a thing. Yeah, and we'll get to that. I was going to talk about that on Wednesday, which does lead into it. What's up, TC, over on Twitch? No Yeet times 3. And Sped showing that he's still in the comments. What's up, brother? Hope everything's great. And yeah, so with that being said, your AEW Crown Champion for the run-in predictions is still the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. Ultimate One still retaining. We just cannot get that crown off of him. I guess we'll have to wait till Full Gear, which is the next pay-per-view, to see if we can actually take that crown away from the Ultimate One, who has he has promised he's going to try to be on the show next time. I know it sucks not having him on the show when we're doing our predictions. So I talked to him after this, and he did say he was apologetic that he wasn't on the show for you guys out in the crowd, all of his undying fans. It'd be weird if it was dying fans, I guess. That he will try his best to be on the show next week. He had some family stuff on this one where he could not make it. So congratulations to the Ultimate One, and we will move on because I don't want to talk about it. I don't like losing. Monday Night Raw. Speaking of losing, we've got new tag team champs. AJ Lee is now your tag team champions. And no, you didn't hear that wrong. AJ Lee is your tag team champions, and I will call them that until they come up with an official name. Dragon Lee, AJ Styles beat the Judgment Day in a tag team championship match that was set up by Dominic Mysterio last week. So let's see. Do we need to get the GTM coming out? That's good stuff. What's up, Coda? Appreciate you coming in, man. I mean, this match was okay. Raw itself was decent. The Dragonall, that's hard to say. I'm from Alabama. I don't know that I can say that every time. I'm going to mess that up, so I'm not going to go with that one. But that's an interesting name. I'll turn that into some kind of bad name somehow and get banned from YouTube, and everybody will be mad at me at that point. So it is a funny name, though. Again, this leads into the Judgment Day dissension. Obviously, the way they built it up is Dominic Mysterio going into Pierce's office and saying, "Why am I the only one?" And then him saying, "Well, you know what? You're right. Maybe they should defend their tag team titles," and getting the match against AJ Lee. Building that storyline, it'll be interesting to see where they go from there. It's still another just kind of thrown together team that's winning a title. We've seen that a good bit in the past. And I'm just curious to see where it goes. with the Judgment Day kind of doing their implode storyline again. What do you guys in the comments? Who do you think is going to be the next challenger for AJ Lee coming in to defend their tag team titles? We'll move on, and then you guys let me know in the comments. And I'll let everybody know what everybody thinks. Speaking of Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio defending his title every week, I feel kind of bad talking about this one with Sped not here. With it being a Dom Mysterio match. Are you okay out there, brother? You good? If you're at a rehearsal dinner, just make sure you don't stand up. We don't want to embarrass you. I know Dom's on the screen. Stay seated. Think about baseball. Anything you can do. So we'll get through this. We'll get through this quick so you can calm down and go back to regular scheduled programming. I agree, Michael. I don't know why they're creating new tag teams, especially to put titles on them. I mean, you've got talking about that. Where are the Creeds? What happened to those guys? They just kind of disappeared. Them and Ivy Nile. When Chad Gable went out, they just kind of went away. There was like 1 or 2 episodes where they were still around, and then poof, nothing. Alpha Academy. Let's get Otis and Tozawa back together and let them do a couple of matches. Anything to spice it up a little bit. You've got the teams there. It's not like the women's division that we talked about earlier. There are plenty of tag teams you have on your roster. Use them. I know you want to talk, Dom. It's not all you want to do. Yeah. Again, good match, him and Penta. As much as I hate to say it, Sped was right. That'll never come out of my mouth again. I'm sorry. It felt weird saying it. But Dominic Mysterio is one of the best wrestlers on their roster right now. I mean, he puts on a show. He's entertaining as hell. Autumn loves him too. Maybe we have like a one-on-one match between Sped and Autumn to see who gets custody of Dom. I mean, it's worked in the past. So we'll have to see what happens there. Maybe we do a prediction show. I'll have to figure out which one, but we do a prediction show that is just Sped versus Autumn, and Sped puts his WWE crown on the line, and then Autumn puts Daddy Dom on the line. So we'll have to get together. I'll have to call Autumn's agent, make sure we have enough money to pay her, and do all that to come on the show. So. And that's why we had to change it a little bit. I had to make it a prediction because if it's just a fight, I'm taking Autumn every time. I agree, Tori. So we had to change it up a little bit and give Sped a fighting chance. We had to make it a predictions to where maybe he gets lucky and picks the right match and still gets the win. So again, Dom being what I like to call dirty dose belts. I'm going to try to make it stick. Nobody else likes it, just me, but I'm okay with that. I'm here by myself. You can't stop me. Congratulations. What you get for going on your little rehearsal dinner. Just proving again why he's one of the main attractions on the show. He's got the AAA championship. He's got the Intercontinental Championship. I know him and Dragon Lee are supposed to go for the Mega Championship at one point because he is the number 1 contender. I appreciate that, Herb. And Autumn, you should bet on yourself. I agree with that. His phone's gonna die. Well, that sucks. Well, at least you got the Dom segment before your phone died. There you go. Kind of like you get to die happy. Your phone gets to die happy. Yep, what that says. I'm not going to insult our Latino. Our Latina crowd and try to pronounce that because again, Alabama, go Tide. You also had the women's intercontinental match against Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree in a match that was 100 times better than it had any right being. Autumn has a better chance of winning the Kentucky Derby with a donkey than she does of beating Sped. There you go. I said it. I got it out there for you since you couldn't say it out loud. That way you could have it. Um, Thank you. I try. If you can't be anything else, be funny, I guess. Uh, this was a showcase match for Maxine Dupree. She has been getting better and better and better. She has been putting in a lot of work wrestling with Natalia down at the dungeon, trying to train. I'm sure she's been at the PC with a lot of the women down there trying to get better. And this match shows just how much work she's putting in. The reversal out of the arm bar into the ankle lock was one of the best transitions out of that move that I think I've seen any woman do. So that's really cool. Um, and just the amount of confidence she's getting, the promo she cut afterwards was really good. Um, she absolutely did amazing, and 100% she killed it. Um, look, Sped doesn't have a lot. He's got a lot of confidence. And he is Delulu. Word I didn't think I was going to say tonight. Delulu. The word of the day is Delulu. 100%. It is by far the best. I mean, that's not even close, Lady Alpha. I mean, and I 100% agree. I would think this is probably 2 or 3 times better than any other match that she's ever been in. Just showing how much work she's been putting in. He'd be a one. No, I'm sorry, Sped. You kind of brought it on yourself, brother. Actually, no, you didn't. I did that. So you're welcome. But again, Becky Lynch gets the victory, getting herself disqualified. Again, kind of something that Becky couldn't win. She's got to get herself disqualified so she can retain her title and still walk away as the champion because she didn't think she was good enough to beat Maxine on that night. I'm actually looking forward to another match with these two, which is a statement I didn't think I would say. Which again tells you everything you need to know about how good this match was. If you can go back and watch, and again, I don't know if you've noticed the theme here, but women's wrestling is amazing across the board. Which actually I'll stop here and go back to Herb's comment from earlier, and I'm going to change it a little bit. Herb asked earlier in the comments, who are your top 5 wrestlers across all companies? I am going to change that a little bit. I want your top 5 women's wrestlers across all companies because we've been focused a lot on women's wrestling, how great it is, and how alive and well it is. I want to know in the comments your top 5 wrestlers across all companies. Think about it. Let me know, and as I see them pop up, I will put them up on the screen, and we'll talk about them as we go along in the show. And look, Sped will have a graphic next week, so also let us know. I'll actually post it on Twitter as well, but you guys in the comments keep the discussion going. Let us know in the comments, but we'll also put it up on Twitter. We'll have a graphic to kind of wrap it up next week, and it'll be a topic that we bring from this week over to next week, a viewer topic that we can all discuss and kind of give everything. So let me know what you think, and we'll continue that discussion because you can never talk about it too much, how awesome these women are doing, no matter what company they're in. And that is really all from Monday Night Raw that I can remember. Again, decent show. It wasn't anything really to write home about other than, Dom and Maxine really showing out. Bailey with another good performance coming out with her character. Just a good WWE Monday Night Raw. I mean, nothing to complain about, nothing really to gripe. It had some good matches, had some good story. Definitely not something that's going to disappoint you, but not something that's going to wow you a whole lot of the time. Moving on to AEW Wednesday, because we'll talk about Tuesday when we talk about Halloween Havoc. Big show following up from Wrestledream. Kicked off with that trios match that you see up there in the top. The Ops versus the Hurt Syndicate, where the Ops takes home the victory. I liked this match. See, I didn't even want to talk about that, Tori. I appreciate you bringing it up, so I will. And this is what I'll say about that. I am incredibly tired of the Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk love triangle that we've got going on right now. I wanted anyone else but Jey Uso or LA Knight to win that battle royal. I would have loved it to have been Dom. I thought that would have been a really cool match. Dom and CM Punk at Saturday Night Main Event, which is one of the reasons I didn't even want to talk about it. But obviously, we will. Give me something else. We've talked about all these people that are up and coming. You've got Braun Breaker, you've got Bronson Reed, who now needs something to do with Seth being gone. You've got the Judgment Day, who are breaking up. So Finn Balor and JD McDonough are going to need something after all that goes down. You've got all these other people who you can bring in. Why in the world do we keep going to these three? And because now you get Jey Uso versus CM Punk, who wins that battle royal, which was a good battle royal. But we just saw that match last week when CM Punk pinned Jey Uso to become the number one contender for Seth Rollins. We've seen that match multiple times, and Jey Uso never wins it. And I'm tired of seeing it. So congratulations, Jey Uso. It's you and CM Punk at Saturday Night Main Event, which is probably the match I'm going to look forward to the least on that card. I'm just done. Hopefully Jimmy costs him. Hopefully Jimmy comes in, super kicks him in the face, and says, "That's what you get." I don't even care if Jay turns it. I want Jimmy to come in, kick him in the face, and say, "There you go, done." You want to turn on me? Get out of here. And look, you guys know me. You guys know well enough. If I'm wrong, and it turns out to be the best thing in the world, I will come back and say, "Look, hey, I screwed up. It turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to." But how we got there, I'm just, yeah. So I'm going to turn my mood around and go with Isaiah's top 5 women that he put in the comments. Thank you, Isaiah. Appreciate you changing gears with me. His top 5 is Athena, which I love, one of my favorite women's wrestlers on the planet. Timeless Toni Storm, Ultimo Monet, Io Sky, and Chris Statlander. It's hard to argue that, man. I mean, those are all amazing. It's kind of widely regarding that Monet is number 1 in the world right now, depending on who you talk to. Our resident wrestling encyclopedia, Stampede, has her as number 1. I mentioned Athena, best finishing move in the business, man or woman. Timeless Toni Storm being there. Just talked about how amazing she was. You got Io Sky over in WWE, Statlander, a great list to start to kick off the topic. So good job, Isaiah. Well, we miss you too, buddy. Trust me, my throat is hurting right now. So 100%, I definitely miss you taking away some of these words. So give me a second. I'm going to try to save that and not go horse on you. She's number 4 on Stampede's list. Sorry about that. I forgot where I was going. Okay. So back to AEW, that trios match. The biggest thing that disappointed me about the trios match wasn't the match itself. It was the fact that the Demand came in and interrupted instead of Hangman. With what Samoa Joe did to Hangman on Saturday, and even Hangman coming back saying, "I'm going to ruin your life," kind of calling back to what him and Swerve went through with each other. I didn't think there was any way that Samoa Joe was going to be in this match with the Ops, and Hangman wasn't going to come out and get his pound of flesh there. Instead, we get the Demand coming out and costing the Hurt Syndicate the Trios Championship, which if you're going to keep that going, whatever. But I would have preferred that to be Hangman. Definitely needs some glitch. I'm out of glitch right now, so unfortunately, I've got to get some more to come in. And if you do, make sure you use that code RUNIN, RUN-IN, for 10% off your order if you also want to try some glitch. Amazing flavors. You can see my cup right there. Definitely got to get some more to get me through shows like this. You also you see down there on the bottom, The women's tag team championship brackets were revealed. We'll get to that here in just a second. But you had Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter, who are one of the teams there, win a 4-way gauntlet match to get to choose their opponents for the first round of that tournament. And a really good match between all four teams that they won, and they actually chose the Sisters of Sin to be their opponents. Which we'll get to that whole bracket. I wanted to talk about that whole bracket here in just a second, so we have a whole slide for that coming up. You had Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly, which is what Tori had mentioned and what Michael had mentioned earlier, in a really good match, really good back and forth. I guess still kind of telling that story where he gets himself disqualified instead of tapping out or quitting to Kyle O'Reilly, who's trying to put him in submission moves and things like that. He gets himself disqualified rather than take another loss the right way. So maybe you're right. Maybe they are going to build to some kind of story where he's doubting himself or something like that. Maybe after Darby Allin, and they make that into a thing. So hopefully they do. That one's tough because he's had some great ones in not only in AEW but WWE. Maybe the best singles match. I could get behind that because most of the ones that I think of when I think of Kyle O'Reilly have been tag team matches. So I can agree with that. Eventually, I don't think it happens anytime soon, but I definitely think that they could start doing that if this continues over the next few weeks. 100%. We Kyle people. I like that. Then you had your main event of the night. Bandito against Okada for the unified title. Herb loves list. Thank you. No, thank you for the idea. I mean, that's it's an awesome list idea of things to do, and it's definitely something that we can integrate in the show. So definitely keep them coming. You had that main event with Bandito versus Okada for the unified championship that Okada ends up winning, and again, just another great match. But the ending, again, kind of what we talked about earlier, is what you want to go to, where they're out there celebrating. The entire Don Callis family's out there. Don, the Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher, everyone else. When Konosuke Takeshita walks out with his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and they're obviously staring at each other because, as we mentioned earlier in the tag team match, those two have had beef for a while. So that kind of leads to Sped, where Okada and Takeshita will feed generations. That is 100% true. I mean, those matches are going to be incredible. Two of the best wrestlers. Okada is one of the best wrestlers that has ever done it. Go look up his New Japan stuff. Go look up, his old AEW stuff. Not so much what he's been doing the past year and a half, although those have been really good. And then you've got Takeshita, who is number one right now in a lot of eyes. Those matches are going to be amazing. Yes, 100% TC. Well, we're not going to say unmatched because, again, that's an opinion. So I know he's number one to us and to Stampede, but there are other people that have opinions that who else is number one. So we'll leave it at that. But we mentioned the other match, the tag team match, because AEW announced that they are going to have a tournament for their brand new AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. And we mentioned the 4-way that had some of the women in them. Here are the brackets that were officially listed during Dynamite. You get Hayter and Aminata against the Sisters of Sin, which you mentioned. You get Willow and Harley Cameron against Naomi and Athena, which is a tag team that got put together that night. I'm excited for that tag team because they are two of the best women's wrestlers in the world. So that's going to be very interesting. You've got Bane and Ford against TJ down there, Ty Conti and Anna Jay. And then up at the top is probably the most interesting one. The most interesting pairing to me. You've got Tony and Mina, who expected, especially after what happened on Saturday. And then you've got Windsor and Riho. So that match is probably the most intriguing first round match for me, just because it's unpredictable. It's going to be really cool. You've got Alex Windsor and Tony Storm, who have a lot of history. You've got Riho and Mina, who have history. I mean, and there's a lot of intertwined stories that are in there. That's really cool. So to me, that's the most interesting first round matchup. But as you can see down on the bottom, who do you think wins out of these 8 teams? And while you guys are thinking about that, we'll look at Michael's top 5 women's wrestlers. Number 5 is Succubus. Number 4 is Harley Cameron. Number 3, Bailey. Number 2 is Kid Bandit. Number 1 is Rosemary for his top 5 women. Again, great list. A very, very eclectic list from a lot of different parts of the wrestling world, but 100% very well represented by women across the world. That's pretty cool. Ultimo Monet. So you think it's going to be those? So who do you think wins, Isaiah? Do you think it's Bane and Ford, or do you think it's Monet and Athena? TC think it's Windsor and Riho. Tori hopes it's TJ, but thinks it's Aminata and Hayter. Look, unless Monet or Athena turn on each other, I don't think there's anybody that beats those two. I do think one of them will turn on the other. It's just whether it happens in this match or one of the future matches. Willow of the Whiskers. I like that name. That's pretty good. If you've watched this show, I'm actually torn because I love Athena, but I'm also a huge Megan Bane fan. I'm actually going to go Bane and Ford just because of how they've treated them on the roster. I would love to see Bane and Ford against Willow and Harley Cameron, because I think, Monet or Athena can turn on each other in that first round, and Willow and Harley Cameron can move on to face. I think the Sisters of Sin win against Aminata and Hayter, because I think Tekla gets involved just because Tekla hates both of those two. So I think there's definitely going to be something there. And then I think, that other one is just so hard to predict. Just looking at it, you think it's going to be Tony and Mina, but the way they've treated Alex Windsor since she's come in, and the reverence they have for Riho, I think they may take that first round. And then you get Willow and Harley beating the Sisters of Sin with a little help from some friends. When Tekla comes out, Hayter and Aminata can come out and take out Tekla, and then it's 2-on-2, and Willow and Harley Cameron win. Then you have Bane and Ford who come out and beat Windsor and Riho to set up that final match. Kind of how I think it'll go down. Bailey and Ford. I think Monet. I agree, and I agree, Tori. I think it's going to be more Mercedes turning on Athena, but let's not speed past the fact that Athena is a pretty mega heel in ROH too, so it could go either way. And there's the Billy Starks of it all, who put out a post after this happened, who put out a really angry face emoji post. So she may have something to do with it too, and actually come and turn on Athena. And they let that story go in Ring of Honor, where it's Billy Starks against Athena for the ROH title to come down the line too. So there's a lot of ways that it could happen there. Again, let us know going out to the show, or let me know going out to the show who you think is going to win that tournament, and I will put them up. Also, make sure you guys are letting me know as you think of them who your top 5 women are. And if not, we'll put it out on Twitter like we talked about. But that is everything AEW. And now we get to the main event. We get to the predictions, the way you're going. I would say, Sped, do you have your notebook? But let me know in the comments, Sped, do you have your notebook? I know you can't probably take notes while you're at the rehearsal dinner, but we'll go on from here. I know Lady Alpha's keeping notes because she'll have her board ready for Halloween Havoc coming up. So thank you, Lady Alpha, in advance for that, because I know I'm not writing them down because I'm lazy like that. We will get right into Halloween Havoc. I am putting my NXT championship. You see that beautiful belt on the Murder Penguin down there on the line. There are 6 matches as of right now. Don't think they'll add any more. Yes, ma'am. 100%. If you will record these, please, that would be incredible. That way I don't have to try to write down and do all this too. So I appreciate it. Coming up with the first match is the one we talked about at the beginning of the show, kind of coming full circle. The Women's North American Championship, which is Sol Ruka, who actually won't be in the match. That injury, knee injury that they're calling it, has taken her out of the match. Zarya steps up to defend her friend's honor and her championship against Blake Monroe at Halloween Havoc. You can see on the graphic there the little phoenix beside Blake Monroe, which is who Sped thinks is going to win. So he thinks Blake Monroe wins. So Lady Alpha, as you're recording them, that's how you'll see who Sped wins. I'll say it, but if you don't hear me or don't know what I'm talking about, just look for the phoenix there, and that whatever people he is that's over is who Sped's picking. Let's see. Isaiah thinks Blake. Tori thinks Blake. Obviously, Sped thinks Blake. And look, there's a few things that are going to happen in this match. One, Blake is going to win. I agree. 100% Blake wins. It's her time. That belt needs to come on her and make it glamorous. I would love it to be bedazzled in a week or two just because it seems like it would fit. But what's also going to happen coming through this is more tension between Zarya and Sol. Zarya goes out, loses her championship, and now she has to go back to Sol and say, I'm sorry. And how does Sol take that? Is this the beginning of the heel turn for Sol? Where she's like, well, you lost my title. You got to do something about it. You got to get it back, and ends up turning on her. Or where Zarya gets mad and says, look, we're only in this situation because you anyway, and turns on her. So 100% think Blake is going to win, and I think this is the beginning of the end of the beloved Zaruka, which, again, you don't have a whole lot of women's tag teams anyway, but here we go. And Zaruka are done after. Yep, 100%. Next up, you've got El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. competing for the North American title against the greatest North American alive, according to him, All Ego Ethan Page. You see the Phoenix down there by All Ego Ethan Page, which is who Sped thinks is going to win this. This is a Day of the Dead match, which I'm guessing is just a no-holds-barred Extreme Rules match. Pretty sure that's all it is. But again, when in Halloween, you do as Halloween does. Kind of like the Australian street fight was in Australia. So we're definitely going to have that gimmick match. And yes, I agree, Michael. I would much rather Zarya be the heel because I think she would make an amazing heel. Out of the two, I think she would make the better heel than Sol would. And again, I've got to agree with Sped and I got to agree with Tori. I don't see any way that Ethan loses this. Dr. Wagner Jr. is coming in from AAA. He's going to have a great showcase. But I don't see how All Ego loses to him and loses that title. I think that they are holding that. They're building him up for one of the stars on NXT, maybe a Javon Evans to finally break through that ceiling and get his first title. And it's again, or maybe like a Tavion Heights or Miles Bourne, somebody like that that's right there to kind of break through and get a huge win over somebody like All Ego Ethan Page. So I think he retains. Mama Coco on a pole. I'm not confident it's All Ego all the time, but All Ego is Isaiah's pick. Laparo will somehow get revived for some reason. And I'm guessing that's going back to Zarya. She does have the perfect look to be a heel. And I think she was a heel in Australia. I'm pretty sure the little bit I saw her in Australia, she was a heel there and was really good. It's one of the reasons they signed her, which is kind of weird that they brought her in as a face here and not just let her come in and be a giant heel like she was over there. So, okay, instead of La Parka. Perfect. Yeah, I forgot about the whole Lexus of them all. They could have Lexus come out and accidentally cost All Ego too. Like he's trying to come out and help him mess it up because that's kind of the way they've started going with Lexus. So I actually forgot about that angle. So it's a good point, Michael. But pretty much everybody going all ego as far as their picks are concerned. And La Parca, I'm guessing, is in reference to our next match, which is a tag team match that features Javon Evans, Leon Slater, La Parca, and Mr. Iguana. Again, Leon Slater and Javon Evans were out there Tuesday night wanting a tag team match to do at Halloween Havoc. They wanted to be at Halloween Havoc. And what better two guys to come out to answer that challenge than Mr. Iguana and La Parca. So again, I think this could steal the show just because of the people involved. It's going to be very bouncy, for lack of a better term. Obviously, Sped has Javon and Leon Slater is the pick. So is Isaiah. Oh, that's not what I meant. That's what I meant to do there. So you think Evans and Slater win by DQ somehow? I'm not sure who does the DQ. I don't know. It could very possibly match the night. It will definitely steal the show. So he thinks Dark State comes out. Why though? I don't understand. Okay, now you'll have to explain it. We'll have to talk about that when it comes out because I don't know why Dark State would get involved in this when they're already in another match. Because this will probably be before that match, so they really don't have a reason to. I guess I don't know. I give it to Laguana of the Dead. So I'm going back and forth on this. Obviously, you see Juana the Iguana named from Mr. Iguana. So it's really hard to go against him in La Parca, and La Parca is a legend. Well, kind of. One version of La Parca is, or all other versions of La Parca are a legend, but you know what? Just because I don't think we're going to differ on any other match, I'm going to go La Parca and Iguana. This may lose me my title because I don't think we're going to disagree on any other matches. So I'm going to go La Parca and Mr. Iguana to win over Leon Slater and Javon Evans. And don't let me down, Mr. Iguana. Let's see. TC agrees with Sped about Evans and them winning, not about Dark State. Lady Alpha wants to know, is that your official pick? Yes, it is. TNA and NXT are both against these guys getting along. Someone will cost them this match. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. They've been beating down the young OG and X Division champ for a minute now. I get that, but they're already involved with the Hardys, which I don't know. We'll have to see. Next up, you have the women's NXT champion, number one contender, Tatum Paxley, who just won a huge battle royal facing JC Jane. I would say I'll go first, but you see Sped's already picked Tatum, and I agree. I think it's Tatum's time. It's Halloween Havoc. She's the spooky queen. I as much as I've enjoyed JC Jane's run, it's Tatum's time, man. I'm a huge Tatum Paxley fan. She has deserved this for a while. Kind of the same way JC Jane did when she won it. She's kind of been one of the unsung heroes of NXT, just kind of in the background, doing what she does, making everything go along in the background. I kind of see Tatum Paxley in that same respect. And maybe I'm with Michael. Maybe that's just me picking with my heart. He's actually going to go JC Jane and pick with his head. Tori says there's no way Tatum wins this. See, what you guys are forgetting, though, is yes, I get it. Fatal Influence is a factor, but you also have Izzy. And the one that didn't come out Tuesday and that nobody's really talking about right now is Lyra. Lyra could very easily come out and equal the odds and maybe bring a friend or four, depending on which personalities show up for Bayley, and really even the odds, even if Izzy tries to turn on Tatum there and then gets her the victory, and then you have that big feel-good moment. So I've seen that, Michael. I've seen that the Izzy was mad at Tatum won. I don't know that she was mad that Tatum won as much as she was mad that Lyra was in there celebrating with her. So I think that may have been what the anger was about more than losing. Obviously, she wasn't happy about losing, but they're still trying to play up that relationship between Tatum and Lyra and Tatum and Izzy, kind of being a wedge. I think that's what that comment was, you bitch, and all that. I think that's what that was for. Thank you. But we're both taking Tatum. I know it's kind of split there. If you guys taking JC, if you guys taking Tatum, but I am going to go with Spooky Queen herself, Tatum Paxley, and Lady Alpha agrees with me, so that gives me more confidence because she usually kicks my ass in these predictions anyway. I'm going to go stay with that. Next up was the match I was trying to talk about when we went to that one. It is two members of Dark State. We don't know which two, against the Hardy Boys for the NXT Championships, NXT Tag Team Championships. And this is the match I was referring to about they're already in with the Hardy Boys, so I don't know why they would go after Leon. If they do that, and if for some reason Dark State does go after Leon and Evans, I would think that the Hardy Boys would win this because then they would come out and take the win away from Dark State just to get their lick back. I don't think that happens, so I am actually going to agree and say Dark State actually gets their belts back from the Hardy Boys. They wanted to have that feel-good moment for the Hardys winning the NXT titles just to put them over so they could have them on there, to have them showcased during the One Final Tables match. It did its job. Now they can bring them back home. I don't think it will be a clean victory by any stretch of the imagination. There's definitely going to be some shenanigans. But I think Dark State takes it. I wouldn't be surprised if Sugars and Cutler are actually the two that go after it, since the other two are the ones that lost it, just to do something a little different. Not to mention, I like Sugars and Cutler. I'm kind of mad that they took away Cutler's kind of weird humor bit that he was doing there for a little while, where he was making the inappropriate jokes. They've kind of let that go by the wayside. I was kind of liking that. I thought it was funny. That Jeff, the Harvey Boys. Did I say that? I'm sorry. See, I think this will be the debut of Clandestine Celebration. That's true too. And I did forget about it being a broken match, which again, I'm guessing is just like a no holds barred match. Actually, you know what? With that being said, I am actually going to swap to the Hardy Boys, since I did forget about the broken match being announced Tuesday. So I am actually going to change my pick. Sorry, Lady Alpha, if you will scratch out the Dark State one and put the Hardy Boys to retain the championships in a broken match. I was surprised they didn't invite them to the Hardy compound and do the match there and go full on spooky vibes match with them. So that would have been very interesting to how they would do all four of them. Let Maximus and everybody else get involved. Then your main event, Trick Williams challenges Ricky Saints, not Obafemi, for the NXT World Championship. So I'll have to get with you. You'll have to let me know your time limit on this match, because that gives us two matches that we're off on. So we'll have to do. No, we don't, because I get champion's advantage. If we tie, we tie. No time limit needed. You just rest your pretty little head, and I'll take the victory like that. Because I am going to go Ricky Saints. I don't think Trick is going to win this. I don't think Trick is very long from coming to the main roster. So I think Saints is going to be here a little bit longer to represent that, maybe until Stand and Deliver, beginning of the year. He'll make the Royal Rumble appearance as the NXT champion, I believe, and then go from there. So I think Ricky Saints wins, and what'll be a decent match. It would have been a better match if it was Obafemi, but that's just me. Yeah, I forgot it was just a one-on-one. So I get the champion's advantage. So no tiebreaker needed. And that is all 6 matches for Halloween Havoc. I am looking forward to it. I think there's going to be some really good matches in there. Like I said, I think the tag team match may steal the show with as cool as it's going to be. I think All Ego and Dr. Wagner Jr. match is going to be really cool because Ethan Page puts on really great matches. Pretty much everybody. Oh, Isaiah picked Trick. Everybody looks. Sped picked Saints. We're all picking Saints. except for Isaiah. Isaiah's out on that island by himself, apparently. I was good to see the Broken Universe come back. That was pretty cool on WWE TV. That was very nostalgic. All right. Let us know what you think about Halloween Havoc. We are going to be doing, and this is the first time Sped's hearing about it, even though he asked me earlier and I never answered him because I'm horrible at texting. Just ask Herb. We are going to be doing a post show for Halloween Havoc. Sped and I will be together. We will announce the winner of the title there, and we will go over the show after on Saturday night. So stay tuned. I will put something out on there so everybody can be aware. And if you're on here, DM Lady Alpha with your picks for the board. If you're part of the Gimmick Table Media, just put that in to the Gimmick Table chat. Otherwise, let us know in the comments or go to Lady Alpha on Twitter. It's at Lady Alpha KK, KAY, and then let her know. Don't just send her a DM if she doesn't know you, because she probably will not get it, and that's just rude. And make sure to check out King of That 2 on their Discord. They're actually going to have a live watch along of the actual show over on their Discord, and then you can jump over to YouTube and Twitch with us to check out what we thought after the show. Synergy, what we do here at Gimmick Table Media. Clock it. All right. That is all of the shows that we have talked about for the week. Now we get to everybody's new favorite segment, Stampede's World of Wrestling top 3 matches of the week.
Hey guys, Stampede here with your top 3 wrestling matches of the week that just was. Coming in at number 3, we have Kyle Fletcher taking on Mark Briscoe at the AEW pay-per-view Wrestledream this past Saturday. If there's ever been 2 wrestlers that are soulmates that could do this forever, it's these 2 gentlemen. Another top-tier performance in their series of matches. Coming in at number 2 from CMLL, Mercedes Moné put her women's world championship on the line against Persephone in a must-see match, especially if you love women's wrestling. Go check that out, and if you need a link for that, make sure to DM me over on Twitter, and I will make sure you get that match. And coming in at number 1, we have Brodito taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada. Just amazing in-ring storytelling between 4 gentlemen, top-tier talent on both sides of this match. And this progressed to another match for Brodito, as he will take on Kazuchika Okada this Wednesday for the Unified Championship. And a lot of extra tension built between Takeshita and Okada. So stay tuned for that story as it progresses, likely up until World's End. As an added feature this week, we're going to hand out some awards. So your women's wrestler of last week is Mercedes Moné. Successfully defended her CMLL world title on Friday. Picked up another title on Saturday by defeating Mina Shirakawa for the ROH TV title. And the next night in Winnipeg, she picked up her 12th title. 3 matches, 3 nights, 3 different countries. Doesn't get much better than that. Tag team of last week would be Brodito. They just continue on their amazing run since they've been put together, and they're in strong contention for Tag Team of the Year. And your men's wrestler of last week, Darby Allin, as he overcame Jon Moxley in the I Quit match. That has seen a little bit of discourse on Twitter, to say the least. Match delivered, though. Darby toppled Jon Moxley, so tune in Wednesday to see what's next for him. Drop yours in the comments. Let Mike and Sped know what you think. What were your matches of last week? Who were your award winners? And now back to Mike and back to Sped.
Thank you so much to our resident wrestling encyclopedia, Stampede, for his top 3 matches of the week and his award winners. Appreciate him sending that into us every week just to give you guys a little bit of a taste from around the world. although a lot of that was from here in the U.S. So sometimes that's the way it is. Thank you again, Stampede. Appreciate you very much. We look forward to seeing what you pick next week. Next up, we have our Twitter post of the week. Look, the first one is just kind of a shout out, man. Dark Side of the Ring has been renewed for another season. If you're unfamiliar with Dark Side of the Ring, it is very kind of expose, behind the scenes, very kind of documentary style TV. Very entertaining. They've been on forever too. They've got a lot of good episodes that can teach you. I know Lady Alpha and Autumn, you guys do a lot of stuff with talking about the history of wrestling and things like that. You can learn a lot of that here from that as well. It is in their 7th season, as you see down there on the bottom, and Sped shouts out. A lot of really cool behind the scenes stuff that you would never really learn without watching this. They do a lot of stuff from wrestlers' perspectives, a lot of stuff like controversies, things like that, that they will shout out and do stories on and episodes on. So it's really cool behind the scenes stuff, kind of the Unreal before Unreal was Unreal. So Dark Side of the Ring goes very well in detail with work. Yep, 100%. The New Jack, they've got the Plane Ride from Hell episode. They've got, I think, like a What Killed TNA, What Killed WCW kind of thing. There's a ton of them that are really good. So a lot of the wrestler exposés and stuff like that, where you learn about their history, ups and downs, and things like that, are really cool too. But check them out. More whenever they start coming out. We may actually do videos when the season comes out. I may get with Sped. We may do like live reactions or post reactions for that episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Talk about what happened on that week. Just throwing out some ideas. I mean, we'll talk about it, Sped. Not that I'm putting you on the spot or anything. Congratulations, what you get for not being here. The second post of the week. This week, WWE announced that Money in the Bank 2026 not only will only be in September, which is later than it usually is, it will also be in New Orleans, the land that WrestleMania forgot. So definitely WWE trying to throw them a bone, giving them one of the bigger pay-per-views. It's not, I wouldn't even really call Money in the Bank a B pay-per-view anymore. Kind of like an A- pay-per-view, I guess. But usually one of my favorite shows of the year with the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank is always really good. Good to see them getting something after losing WrestleMania. But again, what do you guys think about it being a little bit further down in the calendar? Normally it's before SummerSlam. Now we're going into September, which I think is good because like the downtime right now after SummerSlam and waiting into Survivor Series, just kind of a lull in the shows. We had Crown Jewel, we've got Saturday Night Main Event, but this gives you another big show kind of between that July and November time period that you can actually have something really big. I think it's a really good thing that we're having it later. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's see. This is a knockoff since it was supposed to be a Mania site. Yeah, but they did say that they were going to try to give them a few bigger shows, and they are still going to get a WrestleMania in the future. I agree. It does suck that they didn't get that, but it's nice to see them at least living up to them, giving them a few. Because I think they announced another like B pay-per-view that's going to be there in the next year or two as well. So at least they're getting something. They don't come to Birmingham, so So maybe we'll have to go to Money in the Bank next year. We'll have to see what we can do there. Maybe I'll have to start my OF and sell feet pics or something, which nobody really wants to see. And she's cool with it being in September, not my OnlyFans with feet pics. That's bad timing. Sorry, Lady Alpha. He's got family. Look at that. Free place to say. We'll have to talk about it. And I did miss Michael's comments. Where is it at? About Sped getting voluntold that we're going to do something with Dark Side of the Ring. So not many people do. It's a very niche thing. But no, I'm excited for it to be in September. I think that's going to change up the calendar a little bit, make it a little bit more exciting later on in the year. So next up, we've got the run-in matchmaker, This week, it's Bianca Belair versus Toni Storm versus Bea Priestley versus Masha Slamovich, which again fits the theme of the night in incredible women's wrestling. Obviously, again, with the Phoenix up there by Bianca Belair, he thinks that Bianca Belair wins this. Let me know in the comments who you think would win in this fatal four-way between these four women. I am going to go with. It's hard because all four of these are really cool. I'm actually going to go Bea Priestley. I think Bea Priestley is extremely underrated. I think, again, I don't like the term fumbled a lot of times, but I definitely think WWE missed a chance to do something really cool with Bea Priestley. I have been watching her since she was with WCPW going against Nixon Newell, Tegan Knox for you WWE fans. And she's an incredible wrestler. She's incredibly underrated. Doesn't get the respect she deserves a lot of times. I think she actually takes it. Pinning Masha Slamovich just because I'm not a huge fan of Masha Slamovich. So there you go. Isaiah thinks the EST takes it like Sped does. We'll give you guys a few more minutes to put in any picks you guys want to put in. Sped also thinks Masha takes the win. You should have put like the upside down Phoenix on who you thought would have taken the pin. So if you ever have to miss another show, we'll make a note of that. Production note. We didn't do behind the scenes, so we'll have to do it here. You're welcome. Lady Alpha says Bianca Belair. I don't know the two on the right, and the other lives permanently on the Divas Island of Irrelevance. There you go. All right. So that leads us to the final word, obviously with Bigmike, because Sped's not here to do the final word. And look, I'll say a few things. Obviously, you guys have heard me talk for the last hour and 42 minutes now, which is a lot longer than I thought this episode was going to go. So the final word with Bigmike is going to be one that we use all the time, and that's thank you. Thank you guys for being in the comments, for getting me through this. I don't know that anyone will ever know how incredibly nervous I really was before coming on here and doing this by myself. But you guys have made me more comfortable. You guys have gotten me through a couple of stumbles and just everything throughout the last hour and 42 minutes. I will be extremely glad when Sped comes back next week and it's not just me on this screen. So thank you for that, for Sped coming back from this wedding. Good luck on officiating it. Don't mess up. Represent us well. Maybe we'll get some more business on the run-in wedding crashers. That's what we'll call it. The run-in wedding crashers. And we'll turn that into a future business. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank every single one of you who have been in the comments, and thank everyone who's watched the show, period. I appreciate it. And enjoy wrestling this week. Have a great night.